Hey guys, welcome. So today I wanted to do a quick video to show you how to make your own Memorydex cards if you don't have a punch or a die. Like I said, I have one now because I won one on a giveaway, but I still sometimes go and do them myself. But I didn't have one on my very first one that I created, and I had to make my own. I did watch, there's videos that show you how to make them, and there's probably easier ways than what I'm doing it, but I'm going to show you the way that I create my own. Now, this is the only place that I have to store Memorydex. It's not one of those little Rolodex or the special containers that are already store-bought. This is a homemade one that Dolly from Crafty Mermaid Mom made, and she sent it to me from the giveaway that I won. But I'm going to show you how to create your Memorydex to put in here. So that way, if you don't know, you don't have a die and you want to participate in my challenge, or you just want to know how to make them, this will be a really good way to do it. So let's leave this one here. And here is a sample, and I'll show you. This is a card that I made, and it goes in there perfect. So I can put it in there, no problem. So I'm going to show you how to make your own. Very quick and simple. So you are going to need a 4x4 piece of paper. So cut your paper 4x4, and we are going to be doing just a little bit of measuring. So we are going to measure a 1/4 inch from whatever side you choose. Since this is a 4x4, it doesn't matter which one you choose. I always like to make 2 little marks and then connect them, so that way I can make sure that my line is going to be straight. And then on this side, from when you make your line, you are going to measure at 1.5 inches and then at 2.5 inches. And I usually just do, a little bit over, and I just do those little 2 tick marks. So I hope that you guys are able to see. So you make your 2 little tick marks, and from there all you need to do is have a punch. So this is one of those cheap punches. I think I purchased this one like at a dollar store or maybe Walmart, but it's a very, very simple hole puncher, and that's what you're going to be using. And then you're gonna go take it and kind of guesstimate it to about where the center of that where these 2 lines cross. Right there. So you're going to think of where the center is. Now, if you want to make it easier too, you could also draw your line longer so you are able to see it. And then you're just going to go and try to, guess where the center is. So once you do that, all you have to do is grab a pair of scissors, and then you're going to cut the on the bottom. I usually like to cut right to where I think the middle is, and then I go over and cut a little tiny piece on each side. So you end up with this right here. So we're gonna do the same on this side. Right there. So now you have your little punches for your Memorydex. And as you can see, we can just go ahead and go here to a little Memorydex holder, and we can just pop them there. I like to always go one way or another, make sure that it goes in both sides. And that's all. That's pretty simple. Now, another thing that, because in this case, the little dowels are a little bit wider than what my punch is, I like to go and just kind of like, I'm trying to see here, but I kind of just go and punch a little bit on the sides to make that hole a little bit wider. And that's only because I'm using this little dowel box, and the dowels are a little bit wider than what my punch is. If you have a punch that's a little bit thicker than your dowels, then you'll be perfect. Or if you have little dowels that are smaller. So, but anyway, this is pretty much the basic simple to punch your Memorydex. As you can see, it holds there perfectly, just like the other two. And now another thing, if you want to just, fancy up your Memorydex, you can just go and decorate it from here. Leave it as a square as it is. Different people do different things, so feel free to do whatever you want to do. But I like, one thing that I like doing is, I like pairing up. Let me just go ahead and do this so that way I can have it together. I like pairing up 2 cards because where you put your information, I like to leave it like a pocket. So I am going to add glue down here at the bottom. And then I am just going to add glue on these 2 sides. Okay. Right there. So I'm going to grab my other piece of paper and I'm going to glue it to it. Now, because I made these two at different points, the little holes are not going to line up perfectly, but you know, just do the best you can. Once you have them lined up, and you can do this step before you punch it, so that way, you know, you can make sure that you have the punch done right at the first time. But this one's not too bad. If you can see, they're pretty lined up, so I don't have to worry too much about it. So now over on this side, you can see this line that I made, and this is because I want to create a little tab. So for this one, it is 3/4 of an inch. So I measured it. I mean, not 3/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch. So 3/8 of an inch, and I drew the line. And then from there, I am just going to measure about 1.5 inches to about 1.5 inches, make a little mark, and that's how I want my tab to be. So you could choose whichever side you want your tab to be. I am going to grab my scissors and I am going to cut it. There. And then just cut down. And that's what's going to create our little tab. Now, you could use your scissors to round it, or you could use a corner rounder. I do like to use a corner rounder because sometimes it's just faster. But you round the corners, and that's only if you want to. Like I said, you don't have to round the corners. You can leave a square. This little piece got stuck in there. Try to do this one. Now this one does get a little bit harder because of the angle, but you just try to go in there and also round that corner, and then see what happened right there. I kind of cut that too, but that's okay. I'll just go and actually, because I don't want that to show there, I am just going to go and trim that a little bit. There you are. And it's like that was meant to happen the whole time. So then just go and round it there, and there you have it. So you have a pretty rounded Memorydex, and now you have a little pocket in there. So what I like to do with this little pocket is use it for, like, to include your information or whatever it is that you're going to be adding. I'm just trying to cut a piece of paper that is a little bit smaller. So depending on the size here, you want to choose, you know, whatever piece of paper it is that you want to put in there. Kind of think of the sizing. I'm going to cut this a little bit smaller. And you could do different things. Like this is what I like doing. So this is going to be about a 3 by 3, more or less, little square. You can make it a little bigger. You can make it different. But you are going to be sliding it in there, and that's where your information is going to be. Now, one thing that I've been doing when I do this is I like to punch a little hole in there, and I just you know, put in like a little piece of ribbon or something. Let me see. I thought I had something handy that I could use for that. So let's see. Here's one. So here's a piece of ribbon that I have. And all I would have to, obviously this one's bigger, and this is just for the purpose of the video, so I can show you what I do. And it's just, you know, add your little tag, or you could add a little tag with like washi or something. You can check out my other videos that I've done on challenges that I've entered on how I did each one, because each one has been different, and each time I make one, I make it differently. So I think it's a lot of fun to do that. But this is pretty much what the Memorydex will look like. You will then decorate it here. You could use a pattern paper. You can leave this blank. Obviously, you would want to go and erase these. I mean, if you want to, you don't have to if you want to, but I do go back and I erase any lines that I made or any marks, so that way they're not there. But that's pretty much it. That's a Memorydex that I would have. Now it's ready for me to send it over once it's decorated with this little tab where I enter my information. I like to, you know, put my information there, and then I just include it in here. Now, one thing that I've been doing, because a lot of people obviously, you know, you do want to make sure that you don't share everybody's address on online. So what I've been doing is I put my main information here and then I put my address on the back. So that way it's easier to just cover that up or not show the back. But again, you know, you don't have to do that. My address, I don't mind it because I already put it on my channel. It's a P.O. Box, so I don't mind if you guys have it, because, you know, that way you can send me the Memorydex anyway if you enter my challenge. But yeah, I just wanted to come on real quick. I know that this video is kind of getting a little longer with my chit-chatting, but just to show you real quick how to make your Memorydex without a die. Now, if you don't have a punch, you don't have to, you know, you could just go ahead and go, like, let's pretend, let's do one really quick. So that's about an eighth, not an eighth, a quarter of an inch. I'm going to make my line so I can at least make sure that that's straight. And then I'm going to measure 1.5 and 2.5. And then what you would want to do in this case, if you don't have any hole puncher, you want to cut straight down the middle. Okay. And then you are going to kind of go around it halfway. You could just eyeball it and make a little square. Okay, do the same on the other side. And actually, you want to leave it a little bit lower. Right there. Cut yourself a little square shape. And in my case, because my dowels are a little bit wider, you can do that. But again, if you're entering my challenge, please excuse, the sun just came out. It's been kind of overcast a little bit, but I figure it's the only time that I can film because everybody's out at the pool, so the house is quiet. But this is pretty much how you can make it like that. And if you are entering my challenge, you don't have a punch, you don't want to fuss with making the little holes, you can go ahead and send me the Memorydex card without the holes, and then I can do that when I receive it. But that's pretty much two different ways of creating Memorydex, you know, making your own Memorydex holes if you don't have a die or a punch. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a try, definitely. Even if you don't enter my challenge, Memorydex are so much fun to make, and you know, to have a collection of them, I think it is so fun and awesome. Have a wonderful day, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.